Hello and welcome to this exclusive interview. I am Halima Touray and this is CTL Media. Tell me about yourself.
Well, I am Meita Touray. I am a journalist and a journalism trainer working for the Media Academy for Journalism and Communication. 7 years of practical journalism experience and 4 to 5 years of experience in training. So at the Media Academy, we train young journalists to have the practical skills in reporting news, and also to kind of have that critical thinking skills to be able to analyze information before publishing it.
You are also the project manager of YoMIL. What is YoMIL about?
Yeah, so I am the project manager for the Young Women in Media and Information Literacy Initiative project. This project is called YoMIL Gambia. So the project is all about having young women to be more inclusive in the media and also empowering them to take up leadership roles in different media organizations. So the initiative came from Germany. One of the journalists, a Gambian by the name MAJaC, and others worked together. They initiated the whole idea of YoMIL. So the fund came from the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation, and this fund is there to help Gambian journalists or Gambian media workers, especially women in the media. So the project is more of training, but we are also working on having an output that is the guide. So at the end of the project, we will produce something that young women in the media can always refer to as a guide. This would be the Young Women's Media Guide that would be used for generations. So right now, we have already unveiled the project and then completed the first expert meeting that we are able to collect ideas and also experience from experts, those that have been there before us, so that we can have a better and a standard guide for the young women in the Gambia.
How long is the project and how much is it?
So the project is 1 year. It cost more than 145,000 euros, and this is going to be implemented in 1 year. The main purpose of this literacy initiative is more of empowerment, like I said. So women in the Gambia, when you check and go to the media houses, those in other sectors, who are also doing media production, you will find out that there is a great imbalance between men and women. So again, we have seen women kind of dominating, especially when it comes to the journalism training institution. The enrollment is more of female. But when you go back to the newsroom, you see more women at the lower rank. So the decision-making body is always manned by men. Hardly do you have a women, and even if you have, mostly they are not more than 2. Yeah. So that is the barrier that kind of is limiting women to advance more in the sector.
Why is this important for women journalists?
Well, this is very important. You and I are in the sector. We know how it is to be a woman, to serve as a journalist, to also be in the digital aspect, maybe like using the online space to send your messages. So most of the time, the barriers are there to kind of limit your access or your way to progress. So these are the existing realities, and it has been there for a long time. And we know it will still remain, but it is also a matter of challenging this current situation. Because if you just conclude that, well, women should only be limited to this, so the status quo will continue. Yeah. So we must have a voice. We must be determined to kind of challenge certain things. We must also be kind of open-minded to engage our partners, especially men, because we cannot implement or we cannot get to that desired result if they are also not included. So they also need to understand our perspective as women in the media and some of the things that really obstruct our growth. So this is what this project is all about. It is more of kind of giving the women that literacy to understand the media, and then they can strive away for better media production, for, decision-making body.
During the expert meeting, you also talk about developing an app where young women in the media can use to access information and the things they need to ease their work.
So the digital aspect is also part of the project deliverables. The guide that we will produce will be a handy guide that women can always refer to, especially when they have challenges. They can refer to some of the points that they need to learn from, and they can progress from there. So there will also be a digital version of this guide, because we know we are in the digital era. So most of the people rely on their phones to get access to some of the materials online. So if you give them just a handy, they might leave it at home. Sometimes they might not even refer to it. But if they have the app with them, so that means they can access it anywhere they are. So that is why this project is really important. So it might not even be used by only Gambian young women in the media. So if it is an app, anyone, anywhere can access the guide, and that means, we are going beyond our expectations.
How many young people are you targeting for this project?
So for the training bit, we are targeting 280 young women from across all the regions in the Gambia. So each of the regions, we are targeting 40 participants. And let me also make this clear. We are not targeting only those in the media. We also include the civil society actors, because they also interact with the media. And it is best that they also know, especially in their advocacy, they use the media a lot. So sometimes it is important that because the media and civil society work together at some point, they also need to understand some of the content that they share, some of the information they share, and sometimes the repercussion of those things. So you only get to know that, or you only get to be mindful of what you share if you know the power of the media, and you can really be mindful and also analyze the context of the information you have before sharing it, so that you don't fall a victim of, let's say, sharing information that is not true, or maybe kind of defaming someone. So at the end of the day, we are targeting all of these people to go through the training and then hear from them some of the challenges they are going through. And this will also be included in the guide so that they can learn something and how to navigate through those challenges.
One of the desired results you are looking forward to is a media summit for young women in the media. Can you elaborate on that?
So that will be the final bit of the project, when we are able to gather the material, when we are able to do the editing of the content. At the end of the day, we hope to have a guide that young women will use. So this guide will also be launched, where we will gather women from across the country, and that will be the first Women in the Media Summit in the Gambia. So this summit is going to be give a platform sort of to young women to kind of interact again and also network. Because we have a whole lot of women who pass through the media. Some of them, the young ones cannot even relate to, they don't know. But this conference, we are hoping to bring all of them together, so we can hear from the stories of yesterday, those today, and also we can even predict that, well, this might also happen, and that will be a guide for the young ones. So this is going to be the first of its kind, and where this guide that we are working on currently will be presented and launched for Gambian women in the media to use.
Will this project help young women to report more on issues affecting women?
So that is the target, because we have seen that, in fact, men are dominating in terms of reporting issues affecting women. So this is something that we want to change, because it is best that we narrate our own stories. Because when you are affected, you can tell it more than someone who is watching you. Yeah. So the project is all about empowering women to understand gender issues as well, so that they will be able to give fair reporting. Yeah. Sometimes the way the media portray women and their stories also adds up to the current situation we are. So we want to kind of change the narratives by empowering women to come up with women stories, initiatives that will empower women to advance. So the whole idea is to help women to get to a certain level, so that we can have a fair discussion with our main counterpart. We are not we are partners. We call them partners, and we will remain partners.
Yeah.
So the project is just there to empower women to also reach to a certain level, so that there can be balance and fairness at some point.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.